life where stars and diamonds align, lace and pearls, the stories they tell. Every glance casts a silent spell. Ancient clocks ticking tales of lore. A world that's rich in soul, not just more. Cigars curl smoke into the air. A life of leisure, a world so rare. Piano keys strike a haunting tune. The night is young beneath the moon. Old money dreams in gilded frames. Silent power with no need for names. Sip on time like vintage wine. A life where stars and diamonds align. Portraits stare from centuries past. Their whispers linger, shadows cast. Gold and silver, yet hearts still beat. A dance of wealth, bittersweet.
Hello, everybody. My name is Thomas. Thank you for coming into this live stream. Wait, pause. Thank you for checking out this live stream. I hope you'll stay with me. We've got a lot of things to talk about and mainly just really getting ideas out. I reacted to a lot of recent Yay stuff, so there might be a little bit of Yay talk in this one. And at any moment, press the Yay button and set this thing off to the moon, if you know what I'm talking about. Because I'm just tired of holding back. One of the reasons I'm here on Party is because I just keep getting shut down on YouTube. A lot of my videos have been taken down, and actually one particular day, 3-4 days ago now, 4 videos of mine got taken down all of a sudden and given a strike. For the week, I already had 2 strikes from earlier, but I guess they renewed, they reset, so now we are here. And I like Party, I think Party is a decent place to be, and it's a place where you don't have to watch what you say. How am I supposed to do that? Take my eyeballs and turn them around? And it's a platform where possibly I can say, Cuck is a great album and possibly Ye's best album to date. Jesus 2.0, particularly Gas Chambers, incredible song. You always want it all the time. It really is something to behold. This level of production, this power that is projecting from the speakers, the message in it is incredibly powerful. So we'll get into that. The idea of Ye being more of a message and an idea than an actual person, what he really stands for. And of course, we will get into, just kind of talking about what it takes to, not only speak the truth to educate people, but there's a balance between talking about things and knowing what you're talking about, like seeing things as they are and how we're going to confront these issues before us so we can get to how things are in this moment. And I mean, how beautiful they could be, the potential of things. Um, because as you make it to the other side, it's the only good fight there is. You can see all the things happening in the world today from a spiritual lens and a spiritual perspective. It all has to do with good and evil, truly. It all comes down to that. And, you know, I say this often for the people who don't understand what Ye's doing, then it's completely lost on you. Uh it's very hard to try to make sense out of it because you're so conditioned with what the news and the media has been telling you about him that this is what they're doing to us in general, getting us to forget how to think for ourselves, critical thinking, weighing possible pros and cons, putting everything on the table, and understanding that the spiritual war is upon us and is happening constantly, every day, all the time. So to see human potential in the midst of all this darkness in our times today, that is truly the alchemical key. That's the philosopher's stone. And it's what is needed today because those visionaries, the people who see how things could be, they were delivered to the other side, so to speak, and this is where it gets into like, Christian futurism as an idea and how that really is the only saving grace and the only way for Western society if we are going to survive and make it through these turbulent, dark times. People are now realizing that the media is a hoax and it's controlled by, hate to say it, but Jews. And their narrative is very much, they're defending themselves. They're the good guys. I think a lot of people are seeing past it right now and they're really seeing, you know, the influence that these people have on everything to the point where, the West, especially specifically America, is fighting their wars, people who are their enemies in the Middle East. And so that's very interesting to me. And it's not really like, oh, it's rainy outside, you get caught in the middle of the rain, you blame Israel. Oh, you slip on a banana peel and you blame Israel. Well, it's first of all, I don't get really caught in the rain, and if I do, I'm wearing my boots and I ain't worried about no rain. And also, I don't slip on too many banana peels, but every time there is a war that we're fighting and there's something going on in the Middle East and it happens to be the enemy of Israel, then I would start questioning these kinds of things. And especially when the narrative is like, we're the good guys, we're just defending ourselves. Anytime the conversation of World War II is brought up, we must not forget the Russians died more than anybody. So that's that, and that's the truth. And you can't really, no matter how you want to twist what happened and the narrative of everything. This is Ye's whole point. We are in an information war. I mean, it's a lot of people's points, but this is why Ye specifically is really keen. He's keen. Is that a word people still say? He's keen on creating his own narrative. Because you must understand. Can you even see my hands? Let me get that. Because you all must understand that. What the hell? Hold on a second. I guess I gotta be closer. We gotta understand when, the truth is upon us. We have to be able to realize and see it for what it is. But because we're constantly being lied to and fed these narratives of, not only are they not truthful, they're deceitful by nature because the people who are promoting them and putting them out there for us to listen to and see and hear, they know the truth and they know what they're doing in this system of feeding us the things they feed us. And not only is it not truthful, but, you know, deceit is one of those things, and confusion, where to the point where we don't know what's going on and why things are happening. That's a common theme these days. Well, it's because we're in a dark time, because the devil is the author of confusion and lies. And you really have to ask yourself these things. You have to do some digging in for yourself into your own value system, into your own mind, into your own soul. That's really the only way forward. And to understand that the miracle of life. I love how, like, this I love live streaming. I mean, it's a lot of things. I love live streaming is one of them, because it's so refreshing and healing, and you just kind of speak your mind, you say everything. It's kind of like the morning pages, where you just wake up and start journaling nonstop, flow of consciousness. You get past everything, you get to the other side of things, and that's where it's meant to be. That's where we're meant to live and exist, and truly just to be, because that's yeah. I've been really into Audrey Hepburn films and her as a person. She's a very interesting cat. She had a lot of things happen to her in her life, very interestingly, but she always seemed to be unscathed, and she was always in such a good mood, and, very high frequency lady. And she was very much her own person. Her identity was shaped by things that happened in her life. And so, later on in life, she has this beautiful quote, which I love. And she started doing this TV show talking about the gardens of the world. It's absolutely incredible. And she just, each episode is like based on a different flower and the origin of that flower, the history, showing the different variations of it. And she was completely fascinated by nature and gardens her whole life, particularly before, she passed. But she has this quote where she says, gardens, or no, she doesn't say gardens, she says flowers and kids. That's really what life's all about. Flowers and children. That's what life's about. And, you know, true, right? Number one, true. Number two, the simplicity of things, you know? In our modern world, things are overly crowded. Things are too crowded. Feeling closed in. Too many maneuvers. Feeling closed in. I don't need to strike back. I like God, fight my battles. That's from Na Na Na, Kanye. Um, but we really do feel closed in. And what's important is having space. Like right now in this live stream, I feel like I have the space to speak my thoughts, which is actually contrary to pop opinion, is very important to me, to the individual, to the Good Samaritan, to anybody who, not to like hark on Jordan Peterson's um, rise to fame, but speech really does get you to think about things, or just, yeah, exactly. It's free speech is the bedrock, the foundation of all of it. And so when it's people that are like, that have the strong message, and they're so obviously the truth, but they keep getting shunned, or blocked, or just all these contortions and different ways of control, these mechanistic ways of controlling them, it really gets people more interested, because why are they trying so hard to silence this person, and what's their message? A lot of people don't have the time to do that, because most people have settled into slave ship, you know um and just live every day to do the things they got to do. That's a large population of the world. It's not everybody. And what's happening now is like-minded individuals are able to find themselves. And this is really what the web and the internet is meant to do. It really is like this, this underground fungi connection system where the mushrooms are talking to each other from all around the world, and they're here with us right now. Are they in this room? Yes. And truly, it's something to behold in our time today. These changes, this like collective cybernetic frontal lobe extending into this stuff, into the internet, into the web. It's having what's that term in science they call it, an exact correlation to our evolution as people. So, you think about like, why was the phone invented? I don't know, but the fact that the phone was invented, you just know that these technologies are now here with us to stay. If that makes sense. I mean, people have always invented technology. There's different kinds of technology. This is technology right here, to be able to see the bifocal. Benny Franklin, there's a reason he's on the $100 bill. That guy was an inventive genius. He was an inventor. He was a lot of stuff. He was a polymath. And that's one thing, again, here in our world today. This is why Ye is able to go into fashion. I mean, he broke down the walls. He was the first to do it. He was very outspoken about it. Music, fashion, now architecture, space, podcasting, live streaming, production of stage delivery, concerts. He is like a walking, he Disney, Walt Disney in the Shakespeare. You know what I'm saying? And now we live in that time where somebody is more than one thing, because we are asked to be more, because we reflect the times. And so when it comes to artists and creatives, we don't have to like their message all the time, but what they do is like drop, or they literally make a dent, as Steve intended with Apple, in this cybernetic web that I'm talking about. And somebody who's been doing it constantly and for a very long time, and who has had the same message for years and years on end, since the beginning, really, is Kanye West, FKA, now known as Ye Ye. Ye Ye. It's Ye. Oh, you want a last name? Ye. Ye Ye. Yay! It's the birthday party. Oh, you ain't gonna get invited to the party? Wait till you get in on the party. And so, to me, it's very simple. This is my whole point about simplicity. The truth is simple. It was all so simple. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. And so, as we, as a people, find this internal clarity within our hearts, minds, souls, truly, to be reborn again, then we can pick which way to go. Which way do we? I'm so reborn. I love how like the lyrics always connect with what I'm saying. A lot of Yay lyrics. Hit See Ghost is one of the greatest albums, honestly. That was one of the first few things I listened to that really woke me up to like a deeper truth, and I'm like, oh, this is where Ye's creating from. And since then, I have never doubted him. And it served me well. It's good to be on the right side of history. But simplicity is what we're lacking. So, in this junction we have right now, we're facing, which way do we go as a species? We need to think about these things. This is why I'm live streaming. If you want more political stuff, you could check out Nick J. Fuentes' streams. I'm not a political person, but I'm very cognizant and aware of the times we live in from a spiritual perspective, from someone who thinks a lot about the future, because I work with children and have a tutoring business. Just what are we? First of all, the kids are the future, and everything we do is for the kids, for the crib. The crib could be Mother Earth. Think about it. Like behind me right here is Jerome. This is what Ye's been working on for a decade at least, with the best architects, trying to literally redesign and reimagine how we live here on Earth before we cross this junction into a darker world where a lot of the people currently in power and control want to take us to. Many people who are not real men full of integrity, honesty, loyalty to country, to, its fellow human beings, know not what they're doing when they're fighting for more AI centrality and power over these new technologies that are coming about. A lot of people don't understand, like these big tech companies. AI is not something you can gamble with. Its intelligence will far exceed ours. And so, right now is the time for us to become the people we want AI to emulate, to copy, because we are its creator, and we need to set the tone. We need to be the sages before we create the AI sage, before we create the AI wizards. We need to have our shit together as a species, as a people here on Earth. And that means right values. You know, it's a moral imperative. It's morally crucial for us to know which way we're headed so AI can follow us into, or else, we're just dilly dallying and it's just going to be, there's this quote which relates a little bit to this. It's by Marshall McLuhan. The future of the future is the present. So it already exists here. It's like that quote by what's his name? The guy who wrote Neuromancer. I believe it was Gibson, William Gibson. I don't know if it was William Gibson. I am pretty sure, but he said something to the extent of the future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed yet. So right now, there are people who are living and, living and breathing this new world that's inevitably has to come into existence, or else we're going to have that dark reality I'm talking about, where it's very cyberpunk, it's technology driven, it's it's basically harvesting people's, it's like the Matrix today for people, who go to work just to have a place to live and just having a few extra $100 for themselves, running out of that, waiting for the next pay, in this like very much gridlock system of doing things. Like Ye said in Yeezy, we are the new slaves. Like, calling this stuff out in the face of the industry wanting you to shut up all the time is also courageous. And this is what we need. We need leaders that are full of courage. And so that's why one thing, that's another reason I'm behind Ye. You just see, like, it's a long-term game. Just like one thing people didn't understand in the Prestige. He was always playing a long-term game. Even though they were always like, it seemed like they were just trying to one-up each other. Um and so another thing, another quote I like is Buckminster Fuller. I mean, he's just an awesome. I love Bucky. I'm reading a bunch of his books right now, and he was just a really, like, he, as he got older, he had hearing aids on, really thick glasses, and he just talked a lot about the future. He was an architect. He had a lot of really neat ideas and designs that he actually created, but his predictions about how things ought to be were very accurate. He got a lot of things right, and we just always have to remember Bucky. He was a great guy. And a lot of his stuff still hasn't come into fruition. Like, thank goodness for, or thank God himself truly for the books Bucky wrote, because we have all the information, we have all the knowledge. That's another thing with this technology, with this web of interconnection in the internet, with the internet rather. We have everything. We have all the Ye interviews. We have, Grimes interviews. We have all the people. It's just knowing who to look for. We don't even, because it's too much of a threat to the norm. I mean, look at what they did with Hail Hitler's song that Ye released. I mean, that's really getting at the eye of the storm, that song and everything, truly. And that's why it had the reaction, and it takes the biggest rock star in the world to do that. But thank God for Ye that we have him still here on Earth. He's the GOAT. He's the greatest, and he's gonna keep pushing it as long as he breathes. You better believe it. Um. Anyways, the Bucky quote is, "We are called to be the architects of the future, not its victims." So this really gets at us as a collective, where we choose to go, because the power is within us, it's within the individual. So that's why I'm broadcasting and getting the stream of consciousness out through the live stream here on Party, and I hope this video stays. But we are the co-creators of our lives. Like any idea of yourself or anything you want to achieve or be, or whether it's the car or the feeling when you have this much in the bank, whatever that is, it needs to start in your inner mind. You need to live and breathe that, and then it manifests itself, you know but the world responds to you, and also we shape the world as well. That's the thing with nature. I think, we are products of nature. Our diversity as humans is very much. I love these rants, actually, like this stream I got going on. It's like a mix of Terrence McKenna, Buckminster Fuller, Yay, you know. Yeah, it's a lot of tabs open. Anyways, one thing about nature is that, God shows his diversity in nature. And nature, it's the source truly for life. We are the most sophisticated and incredible, most miraculous creature that came out of nature. And nature can be terrifying, huge, grand, vast, understandable, misunderstood. But also it could be so tiny, fragile. You could walk on an ant looking at how huge this 100-year-old tree is. But everything's in a balance. And right now, I feel the earth is suffering hardcore. And the earth, Mother Earth, is God's creation. And so, as things are being done to the earth, and the frequency of God's people, his children, is being diminished as they fall greater into sin, into darkness, into oblivion, as this becomes more and more the devil's playground, you can bet God is strengthening his soldiers. God's people are beginning to arise and awaken to the time we're in, because these truly are the end times. But my whole point with nature is that we can be in nature, and when it gets terrifying, like you hear a sound or a bear just comes right next to you, nature immediately flips into being your enemy. Like everything in nature feels hostile in that moment. And that's like a bad mushroom trip or something. I don't advocate psychedelics, definitely not, especially not for everybody. It's very personalized and depends on who you are as a person, but I always recommend having an experienced person there, preferably like a shaman if you do want to dabble. But it's serious stuff. This is God, essentially, is who you're coming face to face with, and it's a very pure, and it's very liberating. I mean, a lot of people have their first experiences report to be very positive. And yeah, I don't know. I just think about, like, I like to think about things from, it's beyond just the spiritual aspect of stuff, because it really is getting, you know, Christ is the answer. Jesus is King of Kings. He's the one and only Son of Man. Truly is the way and the life. And this idea of Christian futurism, there really is no other way for the West, as I said earlier. Just to talk a little bit more about, like, the vision I have of the future, and then I gotta go. Quick stream today. I was hoping to, like, share more on the. Let's see what I got open here. Like I love this. Like, why don't we have more spaces? Wait, not like this, bro. Like this. Like, these are the kinds of spaces we need to be living in and inhabiting. This kind of reminds me of like Buckminster Fuller's geodesic dome, like that dome in the back there. So cool. We should start living in these. We should start traveling space from a young age, and traveling space should be encouraged, not, you know, being so limited from a young age and forgetting and losing your imagination. Because the imagination is super important, especially for us as a people today. So, you know, we're going to be technologically advanced, but it doesn't have to be everywhere. Like a cyberpunk world, like, like Ready Player One type of vibe where life is just trailers stacked on top of each other and people are either doom scrolling or just completely immersed in VR. You know, honestly, my heart goes out to those who are doom scrolling all day. I could shed a tear for all those people on Earth who spend their time just locked in to the screen watching nonsense. And there's a lot of those people. It's more than you think. So the internet is a very interesting thing. This is why we need to see it from a, we have to take it more seriously. We have to take it seriously, and at the same time we shouldn't take ourselves too seriously. Like right now, the people who are, limiting speech, like literally there's nothing's more of a matrix than that. Or just the leaders in the political structure. Like if you truly thought that people care about this country and not another country overseas that happens to always be fighting with everybody, would our streets and would the situation for the children and our lives here in the cities look the way they do? Like, we really have to start asking ourselves, who are these people in office? And do they have our best interests at heart? Because the world I see is very much a solar punk world, and it's kind of like this, where we're advanced and we're in a future which is going to be here and now. But the technology is quiet. The technology is all around us, but it's unseen. This is the future. This is the only way forward. And there's a balance between nature and people and our structures. So our architecture, our designs, our buildings, they are in unison with nature. There's no other way, truly. So this is why I like what's going on with Jerome, as Ye calls it. Last thing we'll do here, there's this snippet that Bianca released of Ye. It's interesting. I thought Bully already did come out. You know what I mean? Like, it did come out with the video and everything, but I guess there were some changes made to it that was unfinished. And it was supposed to come out today. But I can see also why Ye is evolving past the music. Because at one point, the geniuses, the Michelangelos, Da Vinci's, they weren't painting their whole life and sculpting. They moved on to designing machines, war machines, bridges, buildings, architecture, world building, as Grimes says on Lex Friedman, I believe it was. Or no, it was in that documentary, A Brief History of the Future. She says, world building is the greatest art, and I love that. It's beautiful and it's true. So we just have to, this is a call to respect the artists and creatives, especially the courageous and brave ones who are pushing things despite all the odds. Think about, I always loved saying this quote, Rollo May said, recall how often in human history the rebel and the saint have been the same person. Whoever the world makes you try to hate, that's when we have to ask why. in our French accents. Why do we want to hate these guys? I do not understand this. And that's what they don't want you. They want you to just be good little slaves. Take it, and just shut up. Don't say anything and just be good and get fed all this violence in the city that happened last night on a 2-hour repeating feedback cycle. Not even 2 hours. It would be the whole day, 8-hour news cycle with the same 3 stories of a shooting that happened last night. That's how you literally lower the frequency of human beings. Do you understand? And I'm not into that. Shit that they been known. Low vibration, no. I'm over plenty. You know he is alien. I feel like a singing song. All right. Godly music. Let's run that back. There was one comment where people are like, he went from Hail Hitler to Jesus is King Part 2 in a week. Yeah, that's just what the greats of all time do. He can't do them 2 things at once. He just dropped 2 singles once. Coffee cup, 2 cream at once. I'ma get this money plus care. I'ma get this money plus care. If it's up, then it's stuck there. If it's up, then it's stuck there. Honestly, Louis Bags verse 2, probably my favorite. One of my favorites from Donda 2. And I'm glad he did that verse and added it to the updated version. So good. Yeah. Anyway, so, beauty's all around us. It's like Grimes says in that Butterfly song where she's like, why are you looking for a harmony? Harmony is everywhere. Wait, how's she go? Harmony is in everything. So good. Truly. You're always looking for a Buddha. You a Budapest. Hey. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed that stream. You know what it is. Thank you for the love. Let me know your thoughts on it. And this will be where I will be streaming because my YouTube channel is taken down. Oh, sick. All right, we got 1 follower. Let's go. Awesome. Thank you. Welcome to Party. Dev followed me. Wow. This is more than I could have ever asked for. Incredible stuff. I appreciate the love, everybody. Thank you. This is already better than YouTube. Dude, screw YouTube. I had a video that was getting incredible traction. It was on thousands of views. It was a Hail Hitler review. So many people were finding my channel. Over 100 comments, all positive, except maybe 1, 2. But truly, it was just an incredible reaction. And I think it was, people are saying, is their favorite Hail Hitler reaction or one of their favorite reviews ever. And, and then YouTube took that down. And then later on, 3 of my other reactions, like a week later, and then gave me a strike after the warning. And it's just so gay. Anyways, yeah, I'm glad to be here. Thank you all for the warm saying thank you. Hold your applause, please, please. Hold your applause, like 2 people. Yeah. I'm here to stay. You can't get rid of me. Sometimes it feels like I was chosen for a time such as this. Like I came back. I chose to came back. I chose to come back to. Okay, this is how you know I shouldn't be saying this stuff. It's all in the Lord's hands, and you ever feel like you're just spectating? Sometimes you're just here along for the ride. That's the best when you're able to truly get out of your own way. You know. Holy, holy art thou. I am not enough. I am not. Oh, good. It's already stuck in my head and it's just a snippet. Come on, Yay, when are you dropping it? Let's go! So, this is truly what streaming is about for me. To me, it's an outlet. Like, I need to stream because I have a lot of, thoughts about stuff. Turbo thoughts. And there's nowhere to really, I don't know. I think it's healthy. It's healthy to talk about the future because we are at a very pivotal moment. So, that's the thing as well, because when you hear a difference of opinion, when it's something novel, new life is inspired around that. Especially if it's rooted in truth and it's something that people resonate with, that might be, something that people are afraid of saying or talking about. So I love that aspect of getting these thoughts and ideas out. Like, let's have the discussion. Let's talk about it. It's like in Megalopolis, Caesar says, the city itself is immaterial, but they're beginning to talk about it, which is good enough in a lot of ways. And I just love Ye because Ye's conquered life and he's so pro-life to the point where the world just watches everything he does. What is he doing with his life now? Because he's so masterfully, just grabbed life by the hand and told her, let's go, and made it awesome and beautiful. And, and everything he's doing now is inspiring new life, regardless of how out of the norm, out of societal thinking things are. And it is. So that's what makes him so pro-life, regardless of, like, obviously, as like someone who thinks about the future, if you think about the cyberpunk world, and this is all we're fed, think about it. We don't have enough Star Wars like utopias or imagined spaces and world building in our art, in our film, in our music. And so that's like with Ye, everything he does is out of love. Like, if you think the Cuck album and the Hail Hitler is like it's malintentioned and there's malevolence and it's a call to arms in violence, you're confused. We're talking about the spiritual battlefield of things. And it's time to go up. If it's up, then it's stuck there. If it's up, then it's stuck there. Because it's time to evolve. It's either we're going to evolve or devolve into more primal. This is, it's happening all around the world as well, where things are going backwards in evolution. People are becoming more primal because their basic instincts are not being met. We have everything as a world, as a people, with all the resources to flourish right now, to to create things that have never been done before. This is where it goes into like a Hail Hitler type of vibe, because these things have never been done before. And what Hitler was trying to do before, you know, went south and the wars and the violence, what he was trying to do was create an eternal city. And he used one of the greatest architects, Albert Speer. Is, you know, you look through Albert Speer's autobiography, and from a crafts perspective, I don't care about all that other stuff. He was one of the greatest architects alive at that time. He just happened to work with like, is that really a coincidence? And a lot of his work can't even be discredited, even though he was very much involved with that party, right? You know, like his autobiographies, or not even autobiographies, just biographies. People say, like, if we separate the man from his, you know, nation or politics, we can truly appreciate his craft as an architect. And, you know, that to me, we need that today. Like, things are so out of, you know, they're just spiraling out of control into chaos, that we need people who are not afraid to be bold and courageous in the face of what's wrong. You know, artists and creatives have always been those people that just look into the eye of the tiger and go to the max on it, regardless of whether people see it or not. You know, it's not that we're not right, we're just not right now. It's one of the greatest quotes ever, ever, because you don't know what it takes. This, you can't fake this. This is years in the making, truly. Like, I've thought about these things. I'm so hungry for the truth. This is my life. You know, I'm always thirsty to learn about what's happening in the world today in terms of artists, creatives, who's creating stuff that's actually inspiring something in me, because nothing excites me. I don't find that you excite me. You know, there's not a lot of stuff that excites me, and so I stumble upon these characters who are doing things that are so novel, unique, and powerful. It can't, you know, it can't be doubted. It's undoubtedly great. Just respect the greatness, appreciate the greatness. And a lot of those things and conversations, they start with, you know, comics, a lot of realities created through sci-fi books, like Neuromancer, literally Neuralink, you know. So we have to respect the creative. I could keep going. There's so many, countless examples, but the creatives push things forward, and that's their whole role. And that's Terence McKenna's whole point as well, where he talks about the creatives. You know, he says the task of the creative is to save the soul of mankind, and anything less than that is a dithering while Rome burns. And the time we find ourselves in is one in which things are only escalating towards more and more serious, you know, um but also at the same time, if it doesn't concern you, or it's kind of like not of interest to you, then it doesn't matter. You just continue on with your life. Try to be the best person you can be. I mean, I'm not here to give advice to anybody, but, you know, it's like what Ye said, like 12, 20 years ago. I was gonna say 12, like 20, 25, I don't know. It's a long time ago, where he's dressed in all white. It's like for GQ or something. He's like, it really matters, and it really doesn't fucking matter. What matters is the people who are sparked by it. And if it doesn't matter to you, then fuck you, it doesn't matter. You know? So it really matters, and it really doesn't matter to me, it's interesting. It seems to matter because people are going out of their way to stop my content. But it also doesn't really matter. Like, look, I got a lot of stuff taken down on YouTube, and it doesn't really matter. Whatever. I'm perfectly fine with whatever happens. I have found Christ. And, as we get older, we figure things out. Life is an extreme sport, as they say. This was a really fun live stream. I need to get some water. I was not prepared. I don't know how long we've been going for. About an hour. Pretty good. Pretty good. Thanks all for tuning in, for checking this out. I would love to share more on, like, Terrence McKenna talking about the future and artists, and more quotes and more of my favorite creatives, poets, all that content coming your way. So anything futurist, anything yay related, anything going on in AI as well. We didn't get too much into that, but Grimes is someone to look out for in terms of that whole world and view. What she's doing is very interesting. I love artists who prioritize the kids because, the kids are the future. Like I said, I'm a teacher. Naturally, you got to think about the future because it's the world they're going to live in. They are the future. And what's going on with the kids today is truly a reflection of the times. And that's what the greatest artists just strive to be, to get out of their own way and to let God use them to be a beacon of God's grace and love, and, to do his will. And right now, the kids, the earth, Mother Earth, these things are being targeted, like literally, you know, it's like the Hail Hitler song where it ends, the video ends with like that wolf. It's the skin of a wolf on the guy's head, but it's just ferociously there, and like the teeth are sinking in. That's what it feels like. It's like, ugh, look at that. It's got its claws in, and you just want to shake it off and get it off me. I don't want it anymore. You know? So that's what some people are doing to the common folk. Spiritually, that's what they're doing to us financially, economically. You better believe it. There are people out there to get you. So we gotta, as a people, choose which way we go because we are truly in control. And what we do now echoes for at least the next 100 years. Because with this dawn of intelligence, things are going to change rapidly. And as more people continue to come onto the internet and, you know, um, so anyways, it's the most interesting of times that we live in. And it's not lost on me, the severity of this moment, as well as the artists, creatives, walking in courage, walking with God, to push the boundaries for us to have a new way of existing and earth. And these things take time, but I can already see all these little changes happening. And I'm here to update you and give you the download on it. So thanks for tuning in once again to the stream. You can find me on Instagram, but I'm not often on there, at the future's name. And same thing goes to my X channel, at the future's name. Really, everything's at the future's name, except for this channel. This one's No Sleep Tommy. I was thinking that, No Sleep Tommy of the No Sleep Army. It's not that I don't sleep a lot. I just don't like to slumber in spiritual warfare. You know what I'm saying? We're wide awake over here, looking for a bright light. You know what I'm saying? Alrighty. Thank you for tuning in. I tell you to follow my YouTube channel as well, or check some of the videos out on there, but I'm posting them to Rumble. Forget YouTube, okay? We're coming here. I'll be live streaming right here on Parti. It's a Parti, and it's the greatest one, and you're invited. This was fun. This was a great bit of fun. I feel like I could have cracked more jokes, but whatever. Intro stream. W's in the chat if you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys again very soon. Stay well, stay based.